Hello and welcome to another episode of Prophetcast. Today is June 29th, 2014. I'm Steve Hayes. And that's Drew Kosanen.
Yes, I am Drew Kosanen.
And we are the Thought Prophets. The Thought Prophets is an atheist slash secular group dedicated to the promotion of open discussion, continuous learning, skepticism, and science. I almost said sarcasm. I was thinking that actually is probably a little more appropriate.
Yeah, also true.
Yeah. So you can check out our website, www.thoughtprophets.com. Check out our iTunes. Check us out on iTunes, or you can check us out also on Podbean by going to podcast.thoughtprophets.com. Follow us on Twitter by searching for Prophetcast and searching for Thought Prophets. I'm going to say Thought Prophets like 4 more times too. Or join us on our Facebook group by simply searching for Thought Prophets. I bet you wouldn't have guessed that one. Joining us tonight is a fellow. Wow, I feel like this is. Oh, it is. That's right. Yeah, that's right. David wrote this. Joining us tonight is a fellow prophet and one of the beautiful hosts of the Godless Family, and the pen behind the magic at humanistmom.com, Amanda, the girl on fire Hayes.
Wow. Hi. Thank you.
Yeah, you can blame, and I'm going to blame David, who happens to be not only our special guest, but all my Davidness is just going to go right to you, David. I'm sorry. So you're going to get all the critique and all of me. It's just going to come out of nowhere.
He usually yells at Dave, and
I do a lot. And
yeah, lots of berating.
I can handle it.
I don't know, that voice is just going to soothe me. So our special guest tonight. Oh wow, man, he wrote a whole bunch for you. And our special guest tonight, when he's not battling the forces of ignorance and saving small children from runaway buses and assisting in the production and manufacturing of special underwear, you can find him reading the Book of Mormon on mybookofmormonpodcast.com. David Michael.
That was an amazingly accurate description, so thank you very much.
Yeah, like I said, like we were telling you in the pre-show, man, we've been listening to you as a non-stop stream. So when it comes to, an accurate depiction of who you are and probably what you do on a daily basis, we're pretty sure we know what it is.
Yeah, we've drawn our own conclusions based on the show.
Exactly, logic and
I can't wait
evidence.
to hear him.
You're about to hear
me. I don't know why the camera's not switching to me anymore.
It's gonna flicker at you as we're talking. When you start talking, that beautiful face will show up.
Yeah.
And
I'm obviously new to the Google Hangout, but that's all right.
It's cool.
Used to being alone, alone, talking into my mic, all by myself. So much more fun.
Right?
Is the first time the internet has seen your face. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yes, the debut.
Wow.
You guys have won it. So expect your numbers to just skyrocket as all my listeners are dying to see what this face looks like. So.
Right?
Either that or they'll just drop off.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they'll drop off because of what you actually may look like, or it's just like, fuck, they're associated with Prophetcast now, the Thought Prophets, those guys.
That's what I mean.
They're a pain in the ass, man. Yeah. So we just do nothing but cause trouble.
I'll bring some class. Don't worry.
Oh, perfect.
Up your
That's
game.
great.
Desperately in need of class.
Good, because we have a really low entry in terms of bar. So, like the fact that you joined, I mean, our bar is going up not by our means, but just simply the fact that people are joining us, like you, and talking to us. So, yeah. So you said in the pre-show that you're kind of starting to explode, and really this is becoming a lot more than what you expected. I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit. I'm really interested about your show, kind of why you decided to do it. I know that you've said a little bit in there, some of your reasonings and stuff, and kind of how you're doing it. But for maybe someone who hasn't checked out your podcast yet, one, why the fuck haven't you guys checked out his podcast? And two, would you give them kind of an overview and kind of tell me, what's up? What the hell are you doing?
So I was inspired by Thomas Smith, who has the podcast Thomas in the Bible, where he's reading the Bible cover to cover. I've been a fan of that for a long time.
He's the first, I think, that did that, right? I think
so. Well, he's the first one that was popular. Maybe somebody else tried it and didn't take off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so I thought it was a great idea, and I thought, hey, maybe I should try the Quran, do the same thing. So I actually recorded 2 episodes. What did I name the show? First Time Quran, I think I called it. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a porn reference there, if anyone gets it. But anyway, so then, somebody got it. Anyway, so then I found out there was a podcast called Quranify Me that I found after recording 2, and I said, well, that's out. And then I said, well, okay, what's next? There's something else I could tackle, because I do kind of see the value in putting spotlights on what religious books have to say, because we always hear the filtered version. We hear what the pastors want us to hear from the book, or the politicians want us to hear from the book. But just read the thing. The Bible itself is so much fun to do. So I thought it was a good idea to continue doing that. So I thought, all right, Book of Mormon, never tried it, and I thought this might actually be more fun because I haven't the foggiest idea what's in here. Like, my knowledge of Mormonism came from a musical and a South Park episode. That was like all I knew about it, right? Which is most of us, right?
Right.
Most of us knew.
That's how mine started as well. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, I'll try that. And just the first episode, when I started recording it, I was like, oh wow, I hit gold. Because the Quran was pretty boring. I hats off to Paul at Quranify Me for what he has to do, because that book is painful, and he does. He's got to do quite a bit more to make it entertaining. Like he really has to add bells and whistles to make that listenable, and I think he does a great job. But yeah, my job's pretty easy. I just read it, and I'm like, wow, did you hear that? That's what it said. That was batshit crazy, and that's what it said. So yeah, right off the bat, there's definitely been boring parts, but I've tried to when the text gets boring, I tend to just start like picking apart the words and making fun of them. Right. Like there's a time where someone's rod got longer, and I'm like, how can you not laugh at that, right? Right. So just like things like that, where you just start laughing at the wording. But for the most part, the interesting thing is that I've gotten so many listeners that have emailed to say there's very little about Mormonism in the Book of Mormon. I'm like, okay. And it didn't make sense at first, but then I started thinking about, well, yeah, that's actually true of Christianity too. If you really just read the Bible, there's not a whole lot about the way Christians behave, especially in the Old Testament. Can you imagine? Thank God they don't behave that way, stoning each other and
right.
All that stuff. So it's interesting. And even when you look at the New Testament, you start saying, what did Jesus have to say? And his message to the earth was, don't judge each other, and be nice to each other, and help each other. And that was his message. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, and that was the good parts of his message, yeah. I mean, yeah.
The main themes, we'll say.
Right, yeah, that's it, yeah.
So, all right, we'll just leave it at that. And so, but people don't really practice Christianity that way. So this is the first stage of the journey, so I think this is going to kind of be my exploration of Mormonism. So we're starting with the Book of Mormon. This is one of 4 books that make up the canon of Mormonism, apparently. There's this. The Bible is the first, so they claim this is just like the sequel, right, to the Bible.
Right.
So we got that one. Already covered that one. Somebody else is already reading it. I'm not reading it again. So the Book of Mormon, and then there's the Pearl of a Great Price or something like that, and then Doctrines and Covenants. So I'm going to tackle them all, and I'd also like to start, and then even after that, I would like to get into some of the just intricacies of how the church works. Because one thing I've learned doing this is it's really, you can't be half Mormon, right? And this is one of those religions. It's not like being Catholic where you can say you're Catholic, but you just go at Easter or something, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
This is very cultish. You're either in or you're like out. There's no lukewarm Mormonism, at least as far as I can tell. So it's interesting. I had no idea, because the Mormons that I've met in my life, because I've met some, and they all just seem like nice people, right? Just nice, normal people. And so it's easy to give Mormonism a pass. It's easy to just say, oh, that's just another version of some friendly religion. But the more you dig into it, and the more you really start understanding what they believe, it's fucked up. That's all. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. And the hold that it has on people's lives. So because it has that cult-like hold, people are, even once they believe it's bullshit, they feel like they can't admit it, right? They can't come out, because they might lose their job, they might get kicked out of their school, their family might ostracize them and not talk to them again. I mean, it's just, especially in Utah, where it's like the whole culture is Mormonism. So I didn't realize that that's how that was. So when I started getting listeners that would email me and tell me that this podcast is like their therapy, it really changed my motivation. So it started out, I just thought this would be a funny thing to do. I thought some people get a few laughs out of it. And now it's like, when I start, sometimes I'm tired and like, I don't know if I'm going to do one this week. And I'm like, nope, got to do it. Just people counting on me, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
It's just never expected it would be something that would help people. So, and we've done some other things. We've started a kind of a charity foundation, or I didn't start the foundation. We started a scholarship for another foundation to help some of those people that are trapped inside that, cult culture, to help them get some therapy to break out. So we've done some different things that I really wanted to help listeners that had contacted me. But
Nice.
yeah, I now am having so much fun with it. We've got and I don't know, I'm just babbling here. If somebody wants to interrupt, and
don't worry, I
can talk for hours.
Don't worry.
I don't know. You've kind of sucked so far, Steve. You just let me
Well,
go.
all right. If you
I'll keep going.
okay. I mean, if you want, I'm more than happy.
But I have had fun. Even things like the drinking game that we've introduced into the show has made it a lot more fun. And after a few episodes of that, I thought, is this getting annoying? And I kind of just asked people, like, if this is annoying, tell me. And my email inbox blew up. Oh, God, please don't stop the drinking game. Love the drinking game. I'm like, all right, fine. So, yeah.
And then it came to pass. The drinking game.
Hold on.
Yeah.
He said it.
There you go.
I think at least for one episode, you should play along for the whole episode, and we'll see how drunk you get by the end of it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
It would be long, though, wouldn't it? I think.
Right.
Probably.
That's what she said.
It'd be entertaining.
Touche. Hey.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think so. I'd be hoping that you'd be reading the same line again, so that it's like, and then fuck! I read this one!
I have done that a few times where I'm like, hold on, guys. If you already drank, that one didn't count. I already read that verse. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep up.
I'm out. Yep. And if you already take the shot, fuck it. Good luck.
There is a shot. There's a rare exception for a shot. I haven't figured it out, but there's been a couple times where 4-4 was listed, and I just didn't know why. It made no sense. It just said 4-4, and I was like, why on earth do you say that word twice? So that's a shot.
Really
that is the one.
Repeating stuff in that book. They're just constantly repetitive, which is strange because they're supposedly engraved on metallic tiles. So.
Oh, yeah. Golden metallic tiles.
Why does it look like Amanda's chatting away? And
I am so sorry. My 6-year-old just came in, and he's like, there's a spider in my room, and I'm like, I literally cannot come and take care of this for you. He's like, but I'm like, just go kill it. He's like, I don't know how. I'm scared of spiders. I'm like, you have to figure this out. This is a crisis.
Not to mention, you went to the wrong parent for that.
It sounds like a problem. I wouldn't want to kill it either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I thought I'd mute it, and okay.
Well, if you need to go and take care of that emergency, we understand.
Oh, well.
I mean, I'll be right back if that's.
Yeah, right.
She's not going anywhere. She's gonna stay.
I'm not the resident spider killer, so we'll see if he can handle it himself. Otherwise, he'll come back.
Steve, come running into the house. What? What's going on? Is everything okay? Look at that spider. Can you kill it? What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
All right.
Anyway.
That'll do.
Right. Sorry.
Something you said, David, made me think of a question. You said there's no lukewarm Mormons, and I agree with that. I mean, that's what I've seen too. It's like you're either all in or you're not. And it's just really weird that they don't seem to know any of what's in their book, really. Because, like you said on the show, they're kind of instructed to read it out of order, and they're given, certain notes to follow. So it's
that's yes and no. So I've had some people that have said to me that they're ex-Mormon now, or ex-Mo as they call themselves, and that they had, some people have been like, I've read the book cover to cover 20 times, and some people have just like really read it, and I'm like, good God, I don't know how you did that. But so there are some that like were, I guess, truists, is that a word, where they just read the whole thing.
It is.
But
now.
what's interesting is that some people that actually did read it all the way through have still said that they had a filter on, right? They had some sort of mental filter, that they read the book cover to cover several times and never thought it was racist, for example.
Yeah, that's
right.
What I mean.
And that's pretty fascinating, because it's like, how could you miss that? It's black and white. I mean, literally black and white.
Literally.
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of both. There are certainly some, because I did the one show where we had some ex-Mormons that joined. You guys said you've caught up, which is fantastic, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to hear we have Mimos in the group here. But the
stiff-necked Mimo through and through.
Yeah. So and so as you hear from that, they also said that when you're doing the Bible study, it's very selective, and some of them even got, like, it's discouraged to gather together and talk about the Book of Mormon if there's not an authority figure present. So that was.
That's really weird.
That is really weird. I've never heard of that in any other religion. Hey, we want to get together and talk about our religion. No.
Right.
I think Jehovah's might be similar to that. Like they just spy on their members, and I don't know.
Well, and they seem to. I mean, as far as Mormons, they seem to have a pretty good idea of where their members are, and where they go and what they do. My mom was Mormon growing up in Phoenix, and she ended up moving out here to Seattle with our family, and she would get calls from people who somehow got our new landline phone number, that like asking her why she left the church. And then I will never forget, I think I was in like the 9th grade, and some guy that I had been going to school with for a long time, that I was sitting next to in like a math class, was like, hey, my dad is trying to get a hold of your mom to talk to her, you know, about the Mormon chapter here in Seattle. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? How have you people found us 1,500 miles away? Oh my God. It really freaked me the fuck out.
That's impressive.
That is pretty freaky.
So have you, as your mom, I mean, does anybody else have any ties to Mormonism outside of Amanda, whose mom was apparently in the church?
Are you just interested in our moms, or do you want to know? If
you have photos, that would help. But for now, we can just
picture didn't happen. Yeah. I had a friend that was growing up whose parents were very who were very, I guess, very strict Mormon, but I mean they like, I only hung out with his son like in his room, so I don't really like hear much of like what went down. Like there were certain days and certain restrictions of like, I guess I really never noticed the no coffee and no drinking and stuff. Not that I was a teenager that would look for alcoholic beverages or anything like that, but you know, that's as far as my, I mean,
you had to wait for me to take a drink of beer before you said alcoholic beverages.
I did. Well, I mean, you know,
you give me up till midnight on a Sunday, I'm going to drink. That's just
right. Yeah, you're not from our side. That's right.
No.
Man, I tell you, the number of guests that we get that are not from the West Coast, I feel so bad. Like, I'm so sorry we have to keep you up so late.
We're just way more heathen out here.
Well, I guess I know, right? I guess so. Actually, I think it's just we're just passive aggressive out here in Seattle, at least. That's really what it is out here.
So, David, I wanted to ask you if you personally grew up in a religious household, or what your upbringing was like.
Extremely religious. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a pastor's kid, in fact. So yeah, I was raised in a family of non-denominational Christian. I don't know how else to say it. My father would play the drums during the worship service and then get up and wipe off his sweat and then go preach a sermon. It was one of those. So the whole speaking in tongues, dancing in the aisles, that fun stuff.
Damn.
My job, I figured out early. So my job, I don't know if you guys remember transparencies back before PowerPoint, but yeah, so the words to the different prayer songs, I was in charge of putting the transparencies up, right? So which was great, because then I had this excuse where I didn't have to get up and wave my hands around and stuff. Like I had a job, so it was like fantastic. Right. Because yeah, before that it was like, well, why aren't you clapping and waving your arms? I'm like, oh, for God's sake. Like I just never believed. I never really did. I mean, there's certainly when you're really little, you don't know any different, but I always ask questions. I mean, just from the earliest I can remember, I was always like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, just about anything, any story, because I was in a Christian bubble, so we're talking Christian school, Sunday school, I don't know, at least twice a week, you know, obviously the church. And then when I was, what was I, 13, so my father used to make trips to Soviet Union smuggling Bibles in, because why not? And meeting like underground church groups there and stuff. And yeah, he moved back and said, yeah, he said, Jesus told me that we were moving there. I was like, the fuck are you talking about? I was 13 years old. And so, yeah, 3 months later, we were landing in the Latvian Soviet Socialist Republic. Not making this up. And yeah, so now I went from pastor's kid to missionary kid. And that was actually, turns out it was quite a bit of fun, because I would just happen to be there at the time where the whole communist bloc fell, country gained their independence, so it became Latvia by itself, and that was just historically such a exciting time to be there and to get to witness that. So it turned out nice for me. And then I also found out that I was in a country with no drinking age and no Americans, and any American was just considered a god, because you know, they hated everything Soviet, so you were automatically cool. So yeah, I became like a celebrity, you know, as a teenager. So I had probably one of the more unique high school experiences, not the way my parents intended it to be for me, but yeah, so that was my rebellious period where I just like basically lived my college frat years earlier than I should have. So yeah, extremely, extremely religious. And to this day, there's like my father. We definitely talk about religion quite a bit. And it's interesting because he's a really smart guy. He has a PhD. I mean, we can talk all night on just topics, and it blows my mind that it's like I know that I've won the argument when he says, "Well, yeah, but you just have to have faith." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I won." Yeah, yes, because we're going back and forth with like legitimate, logical arguments, and we're going back and forth with legitimate, critiques or and then but at a certain point, it's like. Gotcha. And he's like, yep, faith. And I'm like, haha, gotcha. one point for David. So, and it all, I've never understood how someone that smart could buy into it. And so it's something I still kind of struggle with. We still talk, like we sit down. I can't do this with my mom. It happened once where she tried to get involved in the conversation and it just went horrible. Because she's a very, if it's not God, it's Satan.
Really?
She takes it personally.
In between kind of thing, yeah. I when I was growing up, she used to edit every movie that we watched.
What?
So yeah, I remember we had 2 VCRs, and I never knew why, but it was so they could like play one and then pause out what they wanted. So I was a teenager before I saw The Wizard of Oz with a witch in it, and I'm not making that up.
God.
Did you watch like teenage Mormon Ninja Turtles? Like
yeah, what else did she edit?
He wasn't Mormon.
Wasn't Mormon.
Yes. Okay. Right.
Yeah. So
I feel like I want to get my hands on one of those edited movies.
I know if I could find it. Well, it's not hard to do. Just it'll be like an hour long, but you just basically cut out every green face in The Wizard of Oz, and you'll have the way I saw. It was really confusing. I remember the wizard was okay though, because he wasn't really magic. Remember, he was just he was there. So I do remember like the end, and it was like, he said, "How do we get home?" And he's like, "You got to bring me the witch's broom." And then it was like, blip. We have the broom, and I thought, what happened with that? It's like it just completely cut out. So yeah, that was just how it was. And so even movies like I'd never seen Snow White or Sleeping Beauty because of all the evil magic in that. So yeah, it was a very censored childhood. But
when did you actually like what? So you said when did you actually start like watching the unedited version of things? Like what age did you say?
The sad thing was I didn't know they were edited, right? So it's like you're a kid, you don't know. You watch a movie, like, all right, dumb movie, didn't make any sense, but okay.
Right. Where's the broom? Over there. Got it. Here you go.
So it wasn't until I can't remember the exact time. I think I was in the military when someone had Wizard of Oz on, and I was like, I've never seen this part. This is this is interesting. And then I thought like, wait a minute, who is this character? So yeah, it was like because I didn't know I had missed it, right? There were certainly some like Disney movies that I knew I'd never seen that everybody talked about, right? So like Snow White, and then when you watch them as an adult, you're like, well, that's dumb. They're just singing, birds landing on their head. Like it's once you miss it as a kid, you've lost that magic moment, right? So it's not, you can't really get that back. I've tried to show my kids now those old Disney movies. They have no interest. I'm like, what is this? This isn't Pixar. Turn it off. Nonsense.
Exactly. You see these graphics? This is what you want me to watch here?
Right.
This is garbage.
Yeah, we've tried to do that with ours too. We've been trying to introduce classic Disney movies, and they're like, no.
They don't last 10 minutes.
No.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
By the end, it's just Amanda and I just sitting there watching.
I know.
What'd you think? Like, I loved it. Well, so did I. But where'd the kids go? They went to bed on their own. Yeah,
so it's fun. So I'm trying not to, raising my kids, I'm trying not to be too much of a polar opposite of what my parents were, because it would be pretty easy for me to just say, oh, that's just stupid, don't believe that. Right. But I haven't had to try. My son, who's 6 now, was just born skeptical. I was too, I think. Like, what is that, the God gene? I just don't have it. I don't think he does either. Right. I couldn't convince him that Santa Claus was real. I couldn't convince him that he lost a tooth, and I was like, oh, the tooth fairy, give him money. He's like, Daddy, come on.
You're putting with money. Come on.
Just give me my money. Exactly.
Yeah, I
want to wait till tomorrow. I got fucking bills, man. Come on.
Yeah, so I've tried to because he does ask questions like, why does Mama and why do they believe this? Like, it's ridiculous. And I wish I could videotape my mother reading Bible stories to him. So like when we go visit grandparents, right? She'll try. She'll get him to bed and she'll start reading. And he laughs at her. And he's like, you don't really believe that. A man didn't sit in a fish's belly for 3 days, Mamaw. That's, come on. He looks at her like, okay, joke's over. Seriously,
right.
You don't believe that. And she's like,
wow.
no, it really happened. And he's like, this is, so it's fun to kind of watch his brain try to wrap around it. He did the other day, he learned about DNA, and he asked me, he goes, why don't you believe in God? Because if Mama and Granddad do, wouldn't your DNA make you believe in God? And I'm like, okay, sit down, let's talk, you know.
Yeah. It's a bit of a straw man here, okay? We need to learn about fallacies before we get to that, sir.
Logical fallacy, 6-year-old.
Come on, right? Dude,
So
that would be amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, see, Amanda and I have a 6-year-old as well, and he's slightly, he's skeptical, but much less about like the God stuff. Like he just does, I don't know, really hasn't been introduced too much to it, or just doesn't care that much, really. I guess.
No, he doesn't care.
He's just like, yeah. I mean, he's like, he has a few theist friends in his class, and it's funny because he calls. It's not like, hell, they're Christians, they're Muslims. He calls, it's like if they believe they're theists, if they don't, they're atheists. Like he has that. That's just how it is. So he's just like, oh yeah. He's like, so did you know? He's like, our mom our grandma and grandpa, theists or atheists. I was like, oh, the theists are Christians. He's like, really? I've never met a theist in real life before. I was like, no, actually, man, you've met a lot of them.
Met a lot.
But
my son calls them God people. He doesn't know the word he is. And there were actually Jehovah's Witnesses that came to the house, and they knocked on the door, and he answered it. So he actually got to the door before I did. He opens it up, and they're like, "Are your mommy and daddy home?" And he's like, "Why? Who are you?"
The hell do you want?
Yeah, so they wouldn't tell until I came up to the door, and so they immediately started in, and he just interrupted them, and he said, "Are you God people?" And they were like, "Yes, we believe in God." And he's like,
that's awesome.
"Okay." And so they hand me this, brochure or something, and I just gave it back. I was like, "Listen, seriously, I'm literally gonna throw this away. Give it to somebody else. I don't need it." And they're like, "No, you just keep it. You just hold on to it." And then he took it out of my hand and ripped it in half right in front of him. And he was like, he just ripped it. And he was like, what? And I just looked at it. I was like, yeah, I guess that kind of, that was your conclusion.
That's something I wanted to ask you about too. Is are you, since you started this project, are you like waiting for Mormon missionaries to come to your door? Like you just,
or do they actually?
No, so I've maintained anonymity. Wait, how do you say that word?
Anonymity.
Yeah, it came out weird. I do that often on the show where I screw words up, even as I'm reading them. But yeah, so I don't think they have my address or anything. Even when I first started, I was like, well, I guess I got to get the book. And then I looked and I was like, hey, you can just go on their website and they'll mail you one for free. And then I was like, okay, enter your address. Wait a minute. So I got the free Kindle copy, so I wouldn't have to have them knocking on my door. There is a I don't know, church, I guess they're called, LDS Temple. I actually think they're called Temple. Yeah. So there's one like quarter mile from me. It's like right down the block. So I've been thinking about going there.
Just grabbing
one. I want to. Well, not grabbing one. Just to walk in and be like, yeah, I've been reading your book, and I have a lot of questions about it. It seems crazy, and just to see what would happen. I don't know. I think I have to get a little bit further through. I'm only about a quarter of the way done, so I don't want them to pull stuff out. It's like, well, in ether it says. I'm like, well, damn it, I haven't gotten there yet.
Shit.
But I think it's something I want to do eventually. Just go in and not so much. So even I never tried to go into this to bash Mormonism. That was never the intent. I just wanted to read. I mean, I had a feeling I would do that just because every religious book is pretty ridiculous.
Right.
But, even the one I just recorded, it's coming out tomorrow, that has some pretty good messages in it. And so as I'm reading, I'm like, this was a good thing. This is a nice message. Mm-hmm. Well done, Book of Mormon, but I'm also just as equally, when you say something horrible, I'm going to say, that sucks.
Right. Absolutely. Plus, Harry Potter has some great messages too. I'm just saying.
Sure.
It doesn't mean you should believe in the Dark Lord. But good luck convincing Amanda of that. She is a Harry Potterist. I'm not sure what.
No, it's called the Potterhead.
You're a
Potterhead.
Yeah.
Get it right.
I'd call you
Sorry.
Hapo.
Hapo.
Better. Make it short.
Nope.
not gonna happen.
It's not picking up. Not picking up.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be trending on Twitter. Sorry. Nice try.
I guess we should call our viewers the Thopos or something like that.
Thopos? Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That just came to me.
He just came to me.
In a vision? Was it what? Did you see Angel?
Yeah, Moroni floated down for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we can let our listeners weigh in on that. Tweet us if you think that is a good name or if you think it stinks. So.
Yeah. Sopo. I love it.
Yeah. Sopo.
Yeah, I really hope Moroni comes back. I miss him. He was my favorite character so far. Just this, it was like
pretty cool.
Because like you just had this vision of like a really, really old man, right? And he forgot that he already told you. So he's like, "Did I tell you the story about?" You're like, "Yeah, it's Grandpa. You told me." And he's like, "Well, there was this time." You're like, "For fuck's sake, you told me." And he's just gonna say it again. I miss him.
Oh, that's sadly my dad. Like, it's spot on my father. Like, he'll just every day same thing. It's like, dude, did you know that blah? Like, yeah, you told me this yesterday. I did. I told you about and then just like I said, this is the same thing. You're like, old man, you are old man. Come on.
So, David, do you ever find yourself? Do you just slip up and say "yay" sometimes before you start talking?
No, there's plenty. You don't have to. There's plenty in there by itself.
Yeah. No, I mean,
like an everyday conversation.
I just did.
Oh, I should try that. That would be fun. Like be on a conference call at work and say, "And it came to pass that this project is due Friday."
Project is due Friday.
It had only been like a couple of episodes in before the whole drinking game started, and I was just like, God, I'm so fucking tired of hearing "and it came to pass."
Yeah.
Like, and then you were talking about making a drinking. I'm like, fucking finally. I thought, like, God, am I the only one that notices how often this is being said?
Yeah.
Somebody emailed me. It's like 1,300 times it's said in the book. It's a lot.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, speaking of work, there was somebody that randomly at work, my office phone rang. I answered it, and they said, I know you're doing that podcast. I was like, what? Huh? No, like I heard you on Scathing Atheist. I know it's you. I know that voice. And I was like, holy shit, yeah. Wow. Like I love it. Just so you know. I was like, oh, okay, good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So I think I'm starting to get out there to the point where people might find out who I really am and live and work. So yeah, maybe Mormons will come get me.
That was our whole goal. So you're welcome. We actually work for the Atheist church.
There I am, everybody.
There he is.
I don't know. It seems like the only real weapon that the LDS church has is excommunication. So like I don't know if you guys have caught up with the whole Kate Kelly and all that shit that just went down.
No.
So there's a woman who it's all over if you want to look at if anyone wants to look it up right now. She basically just started a petition movement that just said that women should be allowed to be ordained in the Latter-day Saint church, right? Because there's no doctrine that says they can't, but only men can be priests. And so she just kind of asked why, right? Like, according to all our books, this should be okay. And they excommunicated her ass, like kicked her the fuck out. And yeah, it was a pretty big stink because she had quite a few supporters. Like people were really kind of getting behind her, saying, "Listen, you might say no, but at least you gotta listen, right?"
Right, exactly.
Fuck you, get out. And so so it seems like that's the weapon they have. If anyone starts to step out of line, it's that excommunication. Because if you believe in it, excommunication is a bad thing. That's like you're going to hell, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're just fucked.
Especially kind of like what you were saying too, to kind of like you're saying about being lukewarm. There's no like you're excommunicated and you're still kind of friends with a few of the guys, right? Isn't it that like if you're excommunicated, you're no longer allowed, like the people of the church are no longer allowed to talk with you? And
I don't
is know. That bad?
I'm not sure.
I might be thinking of Jehovah's Witness because
Jehovah's Witness, yes. Jehovah's Witness.
Jehovah's Witness for sure. Okay, all right. I'm not sure.
One of my best friends came from Jehovah's Witness family, and he actually went to his aunt's funeral, and his own brother told him, "Don't come. Like you're shunned. You can't come." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to be there." And he said, "I want my mother to know that I was there for her, even if she won't talk to me." And he went, and he said it was like he was a ghost. Oh. People just walk. They would just like walk by him without even looking him in the eye. And this is his family, and I was just
so sad.
So, I know it broke my heart to hear that story from him. But yeah, he was 21 his first birthday he ever celebrated. Wow. He's made it for a lost time. If he happens to be listening, I'm not going to say his name because but he has made it. He has made it for lost time. That man knows how to party.
That kind of reminds me of you said there was somebody who was 19 before they realized that there were people in the world that were not Mormons.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
The weirder part, I wrote him back, and I said, you figured this out when you were training to be a missionary. What the hell did you think missionaries did?
Right.
You know? It's like, it was so confusing. But yeah, it was just, it's if you're like, especially if you're like in the bowels of Utah, you don't leave Mormonism. It doesn't happen. I mean, they were on, I was on the Irreligiosity podcast, and they were saying in high school, like there's several hours of the day where school closes, so everyone can go across the street to seminary class.
Right.
Just a thing, you know, and it's like, that's just, everything about that sounds wrong. Like, try that anywhere else, and there would be outrage. But there, it's like, you know, that's what we do. It's Utah. Get over it.
Yeah, it's actually, as I think about it, I remember back when I used to play laser tag, professional laser tag, national team. All right, not just this nonsense ship. I remember when we were out there, so we would play late games. Like, it was very frequent that we would be up till midnight, 1 o'clock, and they had I think I was in Salt Lake, I think actually, and they have a 10 o'clock curfew for anyone under like 18, and I would think I was like 15 or 16 at the time, and like. We had like not just like police officers come up because they saw us standing on the side of the street. We were waiting to like walk across to go get something to drink, right? But like we had older people too that were like, "Hey, you look like you're too young. Don't you know there's a 10 o'clock curfew or something like that? You need to go back home." Like, dude, I'm fucking from here, man. I actually took the wrong street and don't actually know where my hotel is. Can you help me?
Yeah, they don't even need police there. They just self-govern.
Exactly.
It yells at each other.
Crazy. Yeah.
I think we need to get to this question because you've had it selected for like 5 minutes.
Sorry, Kyra had a great question, and I had it selected. So Kyra asks, so what have you personally found to be the most shocking / ridiculous story so far in the Book of Mormon?
The racism was the most shocking, because I've never heard anything so black and white racist. This is the most racist thing I've ever read. You know, it was just the fact that not only is God going to turn people's skin dark because he didn't like them, but then that because they were dark, nobody else would like them. It was just like, fuck me. Like, it was just horrible.
Right.
So that probably was the most shocking. That just like, I mean, you guys listened. I mean, I had to pause. I was just like, what do I say? Like, it was just horrific. Probably the other. I think of something else that was. What was the other part about shocking or what?
Shocking or ridiculous?
Just ridiculous.
I mean, that what you just said is pretty ridiculous.
Well, the ridiculousness is probably the amount of modern day devices that magically appear in 600 BC. That's probably it. So we have what do we have so far? We have steel sword, steel bow.
Right.
We have compass, which existed, which of course was just referred to as the magic brass ball, which is even better. I don't know why they started calling it a compass. Brass ball sounded so much better.
Yeah, the magic brass ball.
Yeah, we had cows and horses in North America, which weren't there. There's more. I can't remember. There's more that have been pointed out.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Oh yeah, the fact that there's Latin and French. So they said adieu once. And which apparently someone wrote me and said that word didn't even become part of the French language till like 1400 or something. That's interesting. And I kept saying in fine, which apparently isn't. It was supposed to be Latin, which like in fine, and it was like, why is there Latin? And also, why is this whole thing supposed to be translated from Egyptian? I still haven't figured that out. What is Egypt? What does that have to do with anything? Anyway, it's just everything about it's bizarre, and I don't know. I'm hoping to get to a chapter where it all kind of comes together, but I'm worried it won't. I think it's just supposed to.
You know, one of the things I really like, if people haven't heard your show before, is that you are reading it for the first time, and so you really get the raw emotion and reaction that you feel to each of the passages, which I think is so awesome. Because you don't hear that very much. Most of the podcasts that you hear are scripted, or they've read it a few times before and they're pretty comfortable with the material. So your reactions are immediate, and I really like that, because sometimes you just stop and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, what? What is that? What are they talking about?
Yeah, happens too much actually. Well, the one time that really got me in trouble, that backfired, was the whole, oh God, what was it? 2 Nephi chapter 3 or something, where apparently Nephi or somebody was prophesying that there would eventually be a Joseph Smith that would translate this, right? And I missed that because the whole chapter just kept talking about fruit of thy loins and the fruit of thy loins, which will cause the fruit of thy loins, which is Joseph from his fruit. And I was just like, it was just so, I just kept making fun of the fruit of the loins. And I missed the fact that Joseph Smith was literally trying to prophesy about himself, right?
Right.
Holy crap. The number of people that emailed me and the post, I always know when someone's catching up, right? Or at least an ex-Mormon's catching up, because I'll get an email that's like, hey, you might not have known this, but this is, I was like, oh, for God's sake, that's number 300 that's told me that. Yeah. Because like the very next episode, I'm like, I'm sorry, for fuck's sake, I'm sorry. You know, because I just got so many. So yeah, it's certainly, you know, there's things that people think, how did you miss that? Like, it was just right there, and it's like, well, it wasn't taught to me. I'm just reading it, you know?
There's a lot to take in, right?
It is, you know? Reading it for the first time out loud on a show.
Even the end of Nephi, right? So I've finished Nephi, and it actually says, I, Nephi, making into speaking. I was like, all right, well, goodbye, Nephi. That was fun. And then I turned the page, and I was like, the fuck? Second book of Nephi? He just said he was you know? Like, that's not right.
I'm going to let you finish, but I got...
Yeah. What do you mean you're done speaking? Now we have another book of you? What the hell?
I'm done speaking. Let me get this glass of water. Let me just...
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, that's awesome.
Am I the only one drinking right now? Is it because it's later?
It's...
Do you guys just more professional? You go off camera and you take a sip, and I'm just like, whatever.
I watched that one video where, clearly we're famous enough to where I don't want to pull anything off the side of the camera and then, you know, take a moment to sip. I saw the governor or whoever.
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, I saw that guy, dude. Killed his career. So I'd hate for that to happen. You know, there you go.
So obnoxious.
Amanda, I feel like you were trying to ask another question, and I.
Yeah, I was, but I wanted it to be organic. I didn't want to just cut off what you were saying.
I just jammed it right back in, so let's do it.
All right. Hopefully I'm not stealing this from anybody, but you mentioned a little bit about some of the responses you've gotten. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, both positive and negative? Like, have you had people, you know, I mean, I've seen a lot of your reviews on iTunes, and I've heard some of the stuff that you said on the show, but is there anything memorable? Is there a general consensus? Do you have any or current Mormons who are angry at you?
Few, but they're usually they like to attack me in ways I can't attack back. So like I just got an iTunes review that someone's like, "You'll see, people like you'll find out."
You'll see. That's so ominous. I love that. You'll see.
Well, actually, all right, I'll try to keep talking as I pull it up, but it was pretty funny. So I'll pull it up and read it for you guys. But yeah, so for the most part, most of the ex-Mormon community, which is, I think, is the bulk of my listening audience, there's certainly a lot of people that, just like me, don't know what's in here and are interested. So it's probably about, my guess is about 2/3 ex-Mormons and about 1/3 of the, hey, let's just see what this has to say. But then, and there's a few, this still shocks me, but there are a few people that are current Mormons, like TBMs. Actual believing Mormons, TBMs. They're very good. You have to and they there's one of them especially active on the website. Like every episode, they have to put like kind of the theology spin on what I just read, which is kind of cool. Like I don't respond to it, and I even during the special I said why I don't respond to it because I just don't want to go down that road. You know,
right?
It's not what the show's for, but it is kind of interesting to hear. What is it the church teaches about that? And it's like you read it and you're like, wow, that's a stretch. You know, as you read it.
Right.
There was even someone that this blew my mind. So I just started on Patreon, and one of the people. So everybody, I set up different reward levels on Patreon. So if you $2 an episode, you're considered a MIMO priest, right, and this kind of thing. And one of the people said, I said, hey, you cool with me using your full name or just your first name? And he said, you can use whatever name you want, but don't call me a priest because I'm an actual Mormon. I just wanted to support the show because it's a good balance. I listen to a lot of LDS podcasts, and this is a good balance for me. And I thought, like, holy crap, what a good person. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a good – and I actually want to say to him, I don't know if you know this, but you're a good person because you're a good person. Like most of your – I don't know, fellow Mormons hate me, you know, and you're like someone that's just a good person because it's like I'm getting value out of this, and so I'm going to help support it. And that, I don't know, it kind of like, I wish that people like that could know that your morality wouldn't disappear if you let go of this. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you would still be a good person. Exactly. But anyway, sorry. So getting into the fun one. So here it is. The name of the review is Mr. T's famous line gets it right on again, which I assume means, what is it? What is Mr. T's famous line?
Oh, pity the fool.
Pity the fool. Yes, I'm the fool. There it is. So it says, bet you think you're the crap, don't you?
Right off the
yes. Yeah. Oh, that started out so great.
Isn't it great? Did you get to the part in Ether where it talks about you? And it's like, well, if you listen to the show, you know I haven't. So
right.
You're not listening. And it says where it talks about you and others like you. And then in parentheses it says, ouch, sorry, didn't mean the one to tell you that you're not the only one. And I thought, I'm not the only one that doesn't believe your book? Shocker.
Yeah.
You know.
Or I'm speaking about it, or...
Yeah, and it says, and what will come to pass due to a mockery is this. And I was like, oh, okay.
Damn it! I gotta take a break now.
Yeah, I did say it. Everybody,
I thought the book had talked a lot about non-believers up to this point.
It did. Yeah, I was gonna say that they referenced it a lot.
Where's this person getting that?
Well, but there does seem to be this great loophole for ignorance. And I keep calling that out. It keeps saying, like, if you didn't know any better, then you're okay. Like, God will forgive you if you didn't know any better. And I'm like, well, why the fuck are they missionaries? That's just mean. Like, why are you going out to the world? Actually, did it? This came up before, but it really came up in this episode I'm about to release. Spoiler alert for tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah, here at Prophetcast first.
I know it came up once before where it talked about this kind of loophole of ignorance. So if you don't know, then you're okay. And I thought, well, why would you go out to distant parts of Africa to talk to people about this if they were saved, as long as they don't know? Leave them alone.
Right.
Just leave them alone. You know?
Exactly.
Because there's a difference between knowing the truth and ignoring it and just not knowing, and which is kind of interesting. I haven't heard any other religion that called that out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Actually, but
the point is, but I just don't understand the motivation for proselytization if that's the case. You're just being a dick to tell people about it.
Putting them in danger that they weren't in before.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you're perfectly fine before you talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I have heard that, and again, this is what through the grapevines. Heard it through the grapevines. That some of the reason that I'm sorry. That's just you get the real thing here. So. I've heard that some of the reasons that they send some of the missionaries out is that so that a lot of times they don't always get the most friendly responses from people, and they kind of when they come back from their trips, it's like, so how was it? It's like, wow, people outside that are not Mormons are mean. There's a lot of rude people, and I went to I tried talking to this Christian group, and they shunned me, and they pissed off at me, and they told me my book was stupid, and you told me John Smith, so like it just like kind of like you're going back to roll back to the beginning, that whole cult concept where they're just buying into that cult. I've kind of heard sometimes that they use it to just kind of reaffirm that this is why you need to stay within the church and within within us, because everybody else they're bad, they're horrible people if they don't believe what we believe. Look how they treated you just coming to their door.
Well, I have heard from some other people that said they were very successful in their missionary trip, but they later found out it's because the people they were talking to were all trying to marry off their kids for green cards. So, there's that too.
Well,
I'm serious. He's like, it depends on where you go. He's like, if you go to Europe, they're like, fuck you, get away. But if you go to like the Far East, suddenly everyone's like, what's this now, Mr. American? That's interesting. Yeah. So there's obviously different motivations for different things, but yeah, it does shock me when I hear. I really, really want to sit down with a bunch of ex-Mormons that were missionaries and find out, how did you pull that off? How did you seriously sit down with someone and tell them to read this thing?
Yeah.
And get them to believe it. Like, it's amazing. And I know. So I did talk to one guy who's he actually lives near me, and he just became, according to the Patreon scale, he's officially a MIMO prophet. And I was like, well, hell, you live in Chicago. You're going to get meet up. So I actually got to sit down with him, and he converted something like 86 people, but he was in the Philippines, and so he kind of found out, a little bit more motivation there.
Right. Slightly.
But yeah, he kind of walked me through some of the sales tactics. It's not different than used car sales, right? It's just like, it's all about asking questions that will force people to say yes, right? Yep. And it's just like, it's a sales tactic. And you certainly don't just say, okay, read this book cover to cover and I'll come back and let's talk about it. Like, that's never said, right? Because who would do that?
Right.
I actually joked with someone that the reason you don't see the Book of Mormon next to the Bible in the hotels, like the Gideon Bible, is because they don't want people to read it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a bad idea. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know all the tips and tricks that they use, but sir, I've heard a few, and it's
interesting.
Yeah.
That's that. Oh, go ahead, Drew.
Oh, this is kind of a random question, but are you a fan of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
So do you think it's possible?
I gotta admit, like the last book was. I skip parts. There's some of the storylines I don't care about. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Some of it
I
got
haven't read the books.
There's too many characters. They have to kill.
The last book in general was eh.
I know. They should have killed more. They killed the wrong people, right? The people we like are alive, and the people where it's like I'm skipping their chapters, like kill them. I don't give a shit. Anyway, but yes, the HBO show I'm still watching. Yeah, go on.
Do you think it's possible that the Book of Mormon Game of Thrones was inspired by the book? Because you got dragons, you got zombies, you got warring kings. I think we might see some sort of revelation in the last couple of books. It might just because George R.R. Martin is actually an atheist too, so maybe this whole thing is just a big joke.
Okay, my imagination's going wild. I know. I'm trying to picture like the Book of Mormon animated, and it being like nothing but fantasy dragons. They've mentioned that stuff. They've mentioned dragons. They've done it twice now, where they're like, and there were dragons. Moving on. I'm like, the fuck? And then and they mentioned a cockatrice. I didn't know what it was until later, and it's like a dragon with a chicken head. And I was
of course, yeah. It has the power to turn people to stone. Haven't you played Magic or Dungeons and Dragons, man? Come on.
Sorry, man. I
invited this guy to the show.
I didn't pass nerd class. Sorry.
Shit.
Oh
man.
Oh.
Dude, screening is going to be getting a talking to. Let me tell you.
I admitted I watched Game of Thrones. What do you want from me?
You know what? Okay, that's fair enough, I suppose. Right? Come on. All right. I'll give you a pass.
No, you mentioned one time that grown men don't know what Minecraft is. That guy does.
Yeah.
I've learned. So my son is just like convinced that I'm going to be the first grown-up that understands this game, and so I know how to play it now. And I'm now convinced, okay, so the first thing you have to accept is there's no point. Like, once you just accept that, there's no point, then you're going to have fun.
South Park has something about that, too.
Well, look, okay, that's fucking bullshit, because that's the point of Minecraft,
no, you crossed the line, damn it.
He's a thing.
Damn it. All right? There is an end, there's an end world, there's a dragon, you got to stop the dragon. Okay. Everybody knows that, come on.
Okay.
Well, I'm playing with a 6-year-old, so maybe we just haven't made it that far.
Well, then
maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I am a grown-up, a woman who enjoys playing Minecraft, but our son plays it, but he only plays on creative mode. So, like, you can't get hurt by any of the monsters or anything. It's really boring.
Yeah, that is no point.
Yeah.
There's no point.
It's
basically Lego. It's Legos.
Exactly.
It is Legos. Yeah,
exactly.
It's Legos.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I definitely enjoy Minecraft.
Did you kill the dragon in the Nether? What did you say?
The Nether world. Yeah.
Have you done it? So you're done. Yes. So you don't play anymore.
Yeah, I have actually. It was.
So you put a bow on Minecraft. It's done. You're moved on.
I moved on to Wildcraft, but no. Yeah, there's never because there's creative mode. Just like you said, it's Legos. All I just got to do. It's Legos. I don't have to worry about fucking stepping on.
Yeah, touche.
That's what I'm trying to do for you other parents. Is you really want to get those Legos out of the house? Get your kid
I don't know
if
you guys listen to Cognitive Dissonance, but Tom was once talking about how he was carrying his kid to bed and stepped on a Lego and was trying to like not drop him on his head while he was anguishing in pain from his foot. Anyways.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like miss a step. I hate that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, the number of times, like, I've just almost, like, completely slipped down the stairs because you step on one of, like, there's a toy car. Phew, there goes your foot. It's like, oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, that's a blast. Yeah. See, so switch to Minecraft, then you don't got to worry about that kind of shit. Safer for your children.
There you go.
We have 2 comments from Joey Cowan, who I have been tweeting with.
Nice.
Who says, yeah, he's my new friend. I have a friend now. Joey Cowan.
Just one.
So very early in the show, he said, you either believe a man translated this book out of a hat, or, you selected the wrong one, or you have critical thought. And then, which I would agree with. And then you're not alone. Cheers. So.
Well, thanks. Yeah. Although, in fairness, the book so far hasn't said anything about a hat. It just said you had to put on a breastplate and some magic rocks on the breastplate, and then you could read it. So I don't know where the hat comes in, because I watched the South Park too, and there was a hat.
Yeah,
and there was a hat.
Yeah,
but it wasn't in the Book of Mormon. So I don't know. Maybe it's another book. One of those other books coming up.
Are you on the first set of plates? Right? He hasn't lost. I don't want to be a spoiler.
I can't even keep. No, it's not. I'm telling you. What people have told me is that South Park episode is not in this book. That is not a thing.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah. So apparently, this is the result, like the end of what happened, and so it's like he translated it, and then it broke or lost it. I can't remember the episode. I know it's like
his wife threw it out or something like that. Or,
My historical reference is South Park. That's fantastic. But but then he had to retranslate it. And people have said that, like, there's the reason that it keeps talking about this section is abridged is because when he retranslated it wasn't exactly the same, and so he just kept saying that someone abridged it or something. I don't know. I can't even remotely keep track of what plate we're reading. It's confusing as hell. Because it's like the brass plates, I think, were supposed to be the Old Testament of the Bible. That's how it sounded. And so the gold plates was like the story of Lehi. Hey, I said it right. Yeah, I had to pause. Yeah. Lehi and his family. But then it was like all of a sudden it was like then Mormon pops up. And he's like, yeah, it was actually me. I wrote all that shit down. And you're like, where the fuck did you come from? And it's like hundreds of years later. So I don't know what plate's what. I don't think it matters. I mean, who cares what plate it was? But
some of us
maybe
care
it matters.
what plate it was. Okay.
Well, then somebody else can like make an outline for me because the book is not explaining it well.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's.
If you guys have been listening along, do you know what plate I'm reading at this time?
No,
no idea.
I love how the book is named after a guy who has like one of the shortest chapters in the whole book. It's like, why did you just say? Why isn't it the Book of Nephi?
Right.
I don't get it.
He came in and he's like, "Hi, just so you know, I found Nephi's plates and I bridged them for you. Peace out." And you're like,
Sweet.
Okay, thanks. I don't know. It was weird. And then
I like that part of it.
We went back in time again. So I was like, what? It was weird. Nothing about that whole The Words of Mormon was that book. Ugh,
yeah.
That made no sense. I'm still confused about that. Anyway, people have told me that they could explain it, but it would involve spoilers. So many of listeners are like, trust me, that'll make sense later. Let it go for now. So I'm like, okay. Fair enough.
I feel like I've heard this before. Huh?
Yeah. I'm sure you're really excited about those plots coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Memento at the end, right?
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I love that movie. That is. So wow, oh my gosh, it's 10:30 already, or whatever time it is for you guys. Yeah, that was really really quick. So we usually that was amazing, and
I talk a lot.
No, it was fantastic. That's the problem. Like I don't want to stop. Like this was great. But I guess to just. All right, fuck it, we're stopping. Thanks, bye. I guess I wanted to get. I don't see any other questions up there. Was there anything like that you feel like you didn't get to say?
Well, I don't have.
Anything you want to hit on? I guess.
I don't have the cool banner at the bottom of my name, so I guess I'll just tell people. But if you want to check out the show, you can either search for My Book of Mormon on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spreaker, or wherever. I've lost track of where all it is. Oh, it's on YouTube now too. I have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Ooh.
We'll have to go subscribe to that. Nice.
I mean, it's just the shows. I mean, there's nothing extra there. Maybe I'll get creative later. But anyway, for now, it's just what you've already heard. So don't get too excited. Anyway, or you can come to the website, which is www.mybookofmormonpodcast.com, or you can follow me on Twitter, which is @mybookofmormon. Couldn't add the podcast because we ran out of letters for the right. So there you go. That's me, and I hope you check out the show. And if you like it, you can email me at comments@mybookofmormonpodcast. Let me know what you think. And I do read all of them. And seriously, if it weren't for those emails, I wouldn't have a drinking game. We wouldn't have the term MIMO. So I mean, the listener participation in the show has made it what it is today.
Awesome.
I think it's a lot more fun than it would have been because like the first 5 episodes I did before I released it, and I think they're not nearly as fun as what they are now. Because now we have so much more participation, and I don't know, it's fun. It's the MIMO show. I might even change. I was thinking about changing the name to Mimo Book of Mormon, but I was like, yeah, someone that hadn't read it wouldn't make any sense. So we're sticking with the original name.
No, but then that would stick well with the book because then you just read it and then ignore it and wait till later. It'll make sense.
Right, there you go.
It's perfect. Right?
All right. Well,
I was going to say I really like the progression of the episodes. I was talking to Drew about it before the show, and I talked to Kyra Brett about it, who's one of our friends. And we all noticed that in the beginning you were a little more reserved, and kind of no nonsense, and just how, you know, the first couple episodes. You've heard this a million times, but you've got an amazing radio voice, and so I just remember thinking like, God, he's got a really smooth like NPR type voice. I really like this. I'm feeling really relaxed right now. And then as the episodes started progressing, you were getting more and more enthusiastic and joking a lot more, and it was just like super exciting. But you still have that awesome radio voice. So
in other words, you fucked it up. That's what she's trying to say.
What? No.
You started out nice, and then you fucked it up.
No, I was gonna say I think it works well together. I like the evolution of the show.
Absolutely.
No Illusions from Scathing Atheist said that he could listen to me read the phone book. I thought that was great.
That's pretty accurate.
He actually was the one that really encouraged me. So I sent him a Farnsworth quote a long time ago, and he emailed me and is like, "Why are you not doing a podcast? I don't care what it is, just do something." Holy shit! And I was like, "Really? All right." So yeah, actually, the original thanks would go to No Illusions from Scathing Atheist, who really kicked me in the butt to start doing this, and then Thomas Smith, who was the inspiration for the genre, I guess, of reading text. So there you go. Thanks to both of you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And those are actually two more people that I have on my list that we're going to try to get on the show. We've been trying to like catch up, and like I said, like we've been getting more awesome people like you who are doing amazing things. And it's actually, it worked out well. David and I were talking about, not you, David, the other David. We're talking about reading through the Book of Mormon because we were trying to find something too. Like, I want to read the Bible, but Thomas is doing awesome, and like, it's not.
I told you on Twitter, tackle Scientology. No one's done that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that.
Actually,
totally
I would like to hear about that.
Legitimately tune in for that. I don't listen to you guys regularly because come on. But if you did that,
what an asshole! We're all caught up, and oh wow!
I'm joking.
All right, no, it's cool. It's cool. I've got the power to kick. It's fine.
I just gave you a. I would listen if that's all I'm saying.
Oh well, thanks.
It's on you.
In other words, your show sucks, but
that's not.
No,
true.
that's actually fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I love the Tho pose.
Oh God, it's a thing now.
Oh man,
it's a thing. We're making it a thing.
Nice. Nice. Amanda, was there anything that you wanted to hit on before we close up here? Any last questions for David or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Drew?
Yeah, I could probably talk to David for a couple more hours, but I'm just glad we got to have him on. It was fun.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same here.
Well, I've said this to everybody else I've been a guest on their show, that if you ever want to join for an episode and just read along and we can both comment together, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a great idea," but then nobody writes me back. So, offers extended.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Here it comes again. Everyone's saying how awesome it is. I'll never hear from you again. But yeah, I think it would be fun just to have somebody else. Maybe just read. Because in the very first episode, I said I didn't want to do every episode alone. And I can't find anybody else brave enough to tackle the book.
Well, I can promise you, while I'm distracted over here trying to tweet you first, you found someone. I'm more than tweet you. I would love to. That sounds like
if you're actually caught up, it would be better, because if somebody else has jumped in, you're like, okay, let me explain. We have this King Benjamin guy. He's on a tower. He's talking.
Right.
So we're gonna do that. That's great.
Oh, I was hoping actually I could just kind of host and start. I wasn't actually like, that's what I was kind of. You have a lot of viewers and things, so I mean, shit, why not, right? No, like I said, that sounds awesome, because like you are exactly what you're doing is awesome. Much like you mentioned earlier, what Koranify Me and Paul is doing is awesome, and it's it's really nice. Like for me, there's so many different religions and so many different books that I really want to get to. It's really nice that I can do some reading in one. I can do some highlighting in the Bible with my little cool Bible app, and then I can bust my headphones on while I'm on the train and listen to you, and it's just like, what you're doing is awesome, and I really appreciate you putting in the time and the effort. Pimp your patron. I definitely want you to pimp your patron, because we pimp Paul's patron, and I want to make sure that you like we were saying, this costs money, and you definitely deserve. I think you deserve at least $1. At least $1, maybe. You know what I mean? Hey, man. It's tight right now. Okay, I gotta ask the wife if I can even, submit that $1. But,
no,
I mean?
not in the budget.
Yeah. Well, for $1, you become a real mimo. For $2, you become a mimo priest or priestess. For $5, you're a bishop, and $10, you're a prophet. And we actually have a prophet. We have a prophet and 2 bishops. It's fantastic.
Nice.
Damn.
And that's
Can I be a priestess?
That's per episode.
You can be a priestess. That's true. Yeah. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that's per episode. Yeah. What is your patron? Do you have you want to pimp that real quick?
Oh, just go to mybookofmormonpodcast.com. You can.
And it's there. Perfect.
I think patreon.com/mybookofmormonpodcast. But to be safe, go to the show's website. That's definitely where you go.
Awesome.
For everything.
Awesome. That's amazing. Again, David, thank you so much. Everybody, again, the listeners, don't forget. Yeah, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was questioning it there for a second, but
you let me talk, which is my favorite hobby. So thanks.
Right? No, well, like I said, I mean, we could sit and listen to you all day, just like you said, much like read that
true,
phone book.
yeah.
Actually, I think the next episode we have you on, we might actually have you read the phone book.
Yeah, I have had some emails like, is there any way you could do a trashy romance novel audiobook?
Ooh, right?
I might actually make money doing that.
Oh my god.
Right?
And
That's
then
amazing.
Moroni unbuttoned the 3rd button.
That's amazing. All right, guys, don't forget to check us out at www.thoughtprophets.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow David on Twitter. Go to his Patreon and donate as much money as you possibly can. Again, even if it's $1, $2, $5, whatever you can, definitely helps. I know I'm going to go there and do that right now. So, David, thank you again for joining us. Guys, check us out next week at 9:30. And
thank you for exposing the face to the world.
Yes, exactly.
You can always say you were the first. You were the first.
Oh.
Yes, we popped the
Thank
cherry.
you for the privilege.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think this is probably the most uncensored you've been on the internet as well.
I have dropped several F-bombs. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, at least on your show, on your show you don't usually do that, but I know that you said you were on. What show were you on?
Irreligiosity. I swore. Scathing Atheist. I swore.
Was
What?
it Imaginary Friend Show? Is that what you said you were on with Paul?
You censored me.
That's what I thought.
No, not with Paul. With Paul, I was on
Mentality.
with Herd Mentality.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
That one.
Okay.
That one, Adam Reek says that he tries to have a clean show, but because he can't control his guests, he puts the explicit thing on there. So I actually did behave myself on that one because he said he wanted it clean. But I actually got censored by on Imaginary Friends. Yeah, Jake cut some stuff I said out. And he was like, I can't put that on there. I was like, wow, really? Okay.
Sorry.
I think it was, what was it? Post-abortion orgasm juice, which would have been funny in context.
Right?
Got cut out. It got cut out.
Asshole.
Yeah.
See, we're going to leave it in.
Funny.
We are totally
fantastic.
You're welcome.
The context for that.
Yeah.
If you actually go back and listen to that episode of Imaginary Friend Show, because you'll hear about you'll say, oh, I understand now where that would have fit and been funny. But anyway,
all these different things we're supposed to just take in and we'll figure out later, right? God, I'm just getting tired of this.
That's the nice thing about airing live. You don't even have the choice.
Hey.
You cut it out.
Wild card.
Hey. That's what it is. Yep.
All right, well, this was absolutely amazing. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us and asking questions. Absolutely appreciate it, and thank you again, David, for joining us. And you, have a godless night.